In a world where royal legacies blend with everyday resilience, one woman's journey from a quiet English village to the throne's shadow captivates hearts globally. As Princess Catherine marks another birthday, her story unfolds not as a distant myth, but as a testament to quiet strength, unwavering duty, and the human spirit's ability to thrive amid scrutiny. This is the authentic tale of a future queen whose grace inspires growth in all who witness it, reminding us that true royalty lies in compassion and perseverance. She grew up in the serene village of Bucklebury, Berkshire, where the air carried the scent of fresh fields and the sounds of children's laughter echoed through family homes. Born on January 9th, 1982, as Catherine Elizabeth Middleton, she was the eldest of three siblings in a close-knit family. Her parents, Michael and Carol, ran a successful party supplies business, Party Pieces, which they built from scratch after meeting as flight attendants for British Airways. Catherine's childhood was filled with simple joys, playing in a garden with her sister Pippa and brother James, attending local schools, and joining family holidays that fostered a love for adventure. From an early age, she showed a natural curiosity and kindness, often organizing games for her siblings and helping her mother with business ideas. The Middletons emphasized education and hard work, instilling values that would later define her. At St. Andrew's School in Pangbourne, Catherine excelled in sports like hockey and tennis, building the discipline that became her hallmark. Her family's move to Jordan for her father's job exposed her to diverse cultures, broadening her worldview and teaching her adaptability. Back in England, she navigated the ups and downs of adolescence with poise, facing typical teenage challenges like friendships and first crushes, yet always prioritizing her studies. As she entered her teens, Catherine's interest in art and history blossomed, leading her to Marlborough College, a prestigious boarding school where she honed her leadership skills as house captain. There, amid rigorous academics and extracurriculars, she formed lifelong bonds and discovered a passion for photography, capturing moments that reflected her observant eye. Her parents' entrepreneurial spirit rubbed off as she briefly worked in their business, learning the ropes of customer service and creativity. These formative years shaped a young woman who was grounded, empathetic, and ready for the world beyond her village. Little did she know, her path would soon intersect with destiny in unexpected ways, turning her ordinary life into an extraordinary narrative of growth and grace. Through it all, Catherine remained true to her roots, carrying the warmth of Bucklebury wherever she went, a foundation that would support her through future trials and triumphs. As Catherine stepped into adulthood, the halls of the University of St. Andrews in Scotland became her new canvas for self-discovery. Enrolling in 2001 to study art history, she arrived with a gap year full of enriching experiences, trekking in Chile with Raleigh International, where she built schools and learned survival skills, and sailing in the Solent, testing her mettle against the waves. At university, she shared a flat with friends, embracing the independence of student life, late-night study sessions, casual parties, and exploring the historic town's cobblestone streets. It was here that she first crossed paths with Prince William, a fellow student seeking normalcy away from royal pressures. Their initial friendship blossomed over shared classes and mutual interests in sports and charity work. Catherine joined the university's hockey team, showcasing her athletic prowess, while William pursued geography. They bonded during charity fashion shows, where Catherine famously walked the runway in a sheer dress, catching his eye in a moment that sparked rumors. Yet, their relationship developed slowly, marked by genuine conversations about art, travel, and life's ambitions. Catherine's poise under the growing media spotlight impressed those around her. She handled intrusive paparazzi with quiet dignity, focusing on her degree. Graduating with a 2:1 honors in 2005, she entered the workforce, first as an accessories buyer for Jigsaw, a fashion retailer in London. This role honed her sense of style and business acumen, allowing her to navigate the competitive world of retail while maintaining a low profile. Weekends often saw her retreating to the countryside, riding horses or walking dogs, activities that grounded her amid the whirlwind of dating a prince. Challenges arose as public interest intensified, with tabloids dubbing her Weighty Katie during brief separations, testing her resilience. Through it all, Catherine pursued personal growth, volunteering with charities focused on children's mental health and the arts, causes close to her heart. Her relationship with William deepened during trips to Kenya, where they shared sunsets and dreams of a future together. By 2007, after a temporary split that allowed both to reflect, they reunited stronger, with Catherine emerging more confident and independent. This period of young adulthood forged her into a woman ready for greater responsibilities, blending her love for creativity with a budding sense of public service, setting the stage for a royal chapter that would redefine her life. The turning point came in the sun-drenched savannas of Kenya, where Prince William knelt on one knee and proposed to Catherine with his late mother's sapphire ring, a symbol of enduring love and legacy. Announced in November 2010, their engagement sent waves of excitement across the globe, marking the beginning of Catherine's transition into royal life. The wedding on April 29, 2011, at Westminster Abbey was a spectacle of tradition and modernity. Catherine, a lace gown by Sarah Burton for Alexander McQueen, walking down the aisle to meet her prince amid cheers from millions watching worldwide. The ceremony blended pomp with personal touches, like the couple's choice of hymns and the balcony kiss at Buckingham Palace that echoed William's parents' iconic moment. Post-wedding, they honeymooned in the Seychelles, a brief escape before diving into duties as the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. Catherine's early royal years were a whirlwind of tours and patronages. Their first official trip to Canada and the U.S. showcased her natural charisma as she engaged with crowds, planted trees, and even played street hockey. She embraced causes like early childhood development, visiting hospitals and schools to advocate for mental health support for young families. Pregnancy brought joy and challenges, announcing their first child in 2012 amid severe morning sickness that required hospitalization. Yet she powered through public appearances with grace. Prince George's birth in July 2013 at St. Mary's Hospital was a media frenzy, with Catherine stepping out hours later, poised and smiling, introducing the future heir to the world. Balancing motherhood with royal obligations, she championed initiatives like Heads Together, a mental health campaign launched with William and Harry in 2016, drawing from her own experiences of vulnerability. Princess Charlotte arrived in May 2015, followed by Prince Louis in April 2018, each edition strengthening their family unit. Catherine's style evolved into elegant simplicity, influencing fashion trends while supporting British designers. Behind the scenes, she navigated palace protocols, forming alliances with Queen Elizabeth II, who mentored her on royal etiquette. Through it all, Catherine's commitment to normalcy shone, baking cakes for her children's birthdays, attending school events, and fostering a hands-on parenting approach. This era solidified her as a relatable royal, bridging the gap between monarchy and modern society, her every step a blend of duty and devotion that endeared her to the public. As the Duchess of Cambridge, Catherine's role expanded into a pillar of support for the monarchy during turbulent times. The death of Queen Elizabeth II in September 2022 thrust the family into a new era, with William becoming Prince of Wales and Catherine as princess. She stood by his side during the somber funeral, her composure a beacon of stability amid national grief. Embracing her elevated title, Catherine intensified her work on early years development, launching the Royal Foundation Center for Early Childhood in 2021 to research and fund programs aiding children's formative stages. Her Shaping Us campaign in 2023 highlighted the importance of the first 5 years, hosting roundtables with experts and parents, sharing personal anecdotes about her own children's milestones to humanize the cause. Public engagements multiplied, visiting Ukraine war refugees in the UK, promoting mental health in schools, and supporting addiction recovery through her patronage of Action on Addiction. Catherine's fashion choices continued to make statements, often re-wearing outfits to promote sustainability, a value she instilled in her family through eco-friendly initiatives like gardening at their Norfolk home, Amber Hall. Family life remained central. Summers at Balmoral Castle involved outdoor adventures, teaching the children about wildlife and heritage. Yet, challenges persisted. The rift between William and Harry strained the family, with Catherine quietly advocating for reconciliation behind closed doors. Her own health scare in early 2024, undergoing abdominal surgery, tested her resilience. She recovered at home with her family's support, emerging stronger and more appreciative of life's fragility. International tours, like the 2022 Caribbean visit, brought lessons in cultural sensitivity as she addressed colonial legacies with empathy during meetings with local leaders. Catherine's photography hobby turned professional, capturing official portraits of her children and even Queen Camilla, blending artistry with royal tradition. Through podcasts and speeches, she opened up about parenting pressures, encouraging open dialogues on work-life balance. Her bond with King Charles III deepened, collaborating on environmental projects like the Earthshot Prize, where she presented awards with poise. This phase marked Catherine's maturation into a confident leader, her actions reflecting a commitment to positive change, inspiring a generation to prioritize well-being and community over mere ceremony. In recent years, Princess Catherine has navigated personal trials with the same elegance that defines her public persona, turning adversity into advocacy. The announcement of her cancer diagnosis in March 2024 shocked the world. After preventive chemotherapy following her surgery, she shared a candid video message from Windsor, emphasizing hope and family unity. "I am well and getting stronger every day," she assured, her vulnerability resonating with millions facing similar battles. Throughout treatment, she maintained a low profile, focusing on recovery at Adelaide Cottage, where quiet days involved reading to her children and gentle walks in the gardens. William's unwavering support was evident as he juggled royal duties while prioritizing family, often speaking of her strength in public. Catherine's gradual return to engagements began with Trooping the Colour in June 2024, where she appeared on the Buckingham Palace balcony, waving to crowds with a warm smile that masked her ongoing challenges. Her patronage work adapted. Virtual meetings with cancer charities like Macmillan allowed her to contribute without overexertion. The family's move to Windsor provided a serene backdrop, with the children attending nearby schools, fostering a sense of normalcy amid chaos. Holidays at Mustique offered respite, recharging her spirit through beach strolls and quality time. By September 2024, declaring herself cancer-free, Catherine resumed fuller duties, hosting a Christmas Carol concert at Westminster Abbey that celebrated community heroes. Her focus sharpened on preventive health, partnering with organizations to promote early detection and research funding. Media scrutiny intensified, but she countered with authenticity, releasing family videos that showcased joyful moments like baking and outdoor play. Collaborations with William on youth empowerment initiatives, such as the Diana Award, honored his mother's legacy while forging their own path. Catherine's influence extended globally. A state visit to South Africa in 2025 highlighted conservation efforts, where she engaged with rangers protecting endangered species. Through it all, her marriage remained a cornerstone, marked by anniversaries celebrated privately with handwritten notes and shared adventures. This chapter revealed Catherine's depth, transforming personal hardship into a platform for empathy, proving that even future queens face human struggles, yet rise with renewed purpose to lead by example. As Princess Catherine celebrates her 44th birthday on January 9th, 2026, she stands as a symbol of enduring legacy and forward momentum. Surrounded by loved ones at Kensington Palace, The day begins with a family breakfast, where George, Charlotte, and Louis present handmade cards, their laughter filling the rooms. Public well-wishes flood in via social media, with tributes from world leaders and fans alike hailing her as the people's princess. Catherine's agenda includes a quiet reflection on her journey, perhaps visiting a children's hospice she patrons, sharing cake, and stories with young patients. Evening brings an intimate gathering with close friends, toasting to health and happiness. Looking ahead, her role as future queen looms larger. With King Charles's guidance, she prepares for increased responsibilities, focusing on modernizing the monarchy through digital outreach and inclusive policies. Initiatives like her early childhood center expand, with new branches opening across the UK to support underserved families. William and she planned eco-tours to Asia, advocating for climate action. Personally, Catherine embraces wellness, incorporating yoga and mindfulness into her routine, lessons learned from her health battles. Her style evolves, blending high fashion with ethical brands, influencing sustainable trends. The children thrive, George in secondary school, Charlotte pursuing arts, Louis full of energy under her nurturing gaze. Amid global uncertainties, Catherine's message of resilience inspires. In speeches, she urges unity and kindness, drawing from her experiences. As the sun sets on her birthday, she gazes at the horizon, embodying hope for the monarchy's future. Long live Princess Catherine, whose story continues to unfold, a blend of tradition, innovation, and unyielding spirit that promises a brighter reign ahead. In a world full of bright lights and busy days, one woman's story stands out like a quiet light in the morning. Catherine Elizabeth Middleton was born on a cold January day in 1982 in the small town of Reading, England. But it was the peaceful village of Bucklebury in Berkshire where she really grew up. This place had green fields, narrow roads lined with trees, and houses with warm windows that glowed at night. Here, life moved slowly, and families knew each other by name. Catherine's early years were simple, full of small joys that shaped the strong and kind person she would become. Her parents, Michael and Carol Middleton, were not born into wealth. They met years earlier when both worked as flight attendants for British Airways. They fell in love during long flights across the sky. After they married, they decided to build something of their own. They started a small business called Party Pieces from their home. At first, it was just a few party supplies sold by mail. Carol packed boxes in the kitchen, while Michael helped with deliveries. Slowly, the business grew. They sold balloons, paper plates, costumes, and decorations for birthdays and holidays. Their hard work paid off, and the family moved into a comfortable home with a big garden. Catherine was the first child. She arrived on January 9th, 1982. From the beginning, she was bright and curious. She loved to explore. As a toddler, she would run through the grass chasing butterflies or sit quietly watching ants march in lines. Her parents noticed how gentle she was with animals and how she smiled at everyone. When her sister Pippa was born in 1983, Catherine became a caring big sister. She shared her toys and helped feed the baby. 3 years later, in 1987, her brother James came along. Now the house was full of children's voices, laughter, and the sound of small feet running up and downstairs. The Middleton home was warm and busy. Carol made sure the children learned good manners and the value of helping others. Michael taught them to be polite and honest. Family meals were important. Every evening they sat together at the table, talking about their day. Catherine loved these moments. She listened carefully and asked many questions. Her parents answered patiently, encouraging her to think and speak clearly. In the garden, the children played for hours. They built forts from old blankets and sticks. They pretended to be explorers in faraway lands. Catherine was good at making up stories. She would lead games where they were knights saving a castle or sailors crossing stormy seas. Pippa was brave and quick, always ready for adventure. James was the youngest and full of energy. Together, the three siblings created their own little world. When Catherine was 4 years old, she started going to a small nursery school nearby. She made friends easily. Teachers said she was helpful and shared her crayons without being asked. She liked drawing pictures of flowers and animals. At home, she would show her drawings to her mother, who praised them and hung them on the fridge. These small acts of love built her confidence day by day. As she grew older, the family took holidays that opened her eyes to new places. They went camping in the countryside. They stayed in small cottages by the sea. Once, they traveled to the island of Jersey, where the beaches were wide and the water clear. Catherine collected shells and built sandcastles taller than herself. She learned to swim in the cold waves, laughing when the water splashed her face. These trips taught her to enjoy nature and to be brave in new situations. When Catherine was 7, her father got a job offer in Amman, the capital city of Jordan. The family moved there for 2.5 years. It was a big change. Jordan was warm and sunny, with busy markets full of colorful spices and fabrics. The call to prayer echoed 5 times a day from tall minarets. Catherine attended an English school for children of expats. She made friends from many countries. She learned about different foods like hummus and falafel. She tried riding a camel and visited ancient ruins in the desert. The experience made her curious about the world. She saw how people lived in ways different from her village life, yet everyone smiled and played the same games. Back in England after Jordan, Catherine started at St. Andrew's School in Pangbourne. This was a private day school with green playing fields and kind teachers. She did well in her lessons. She liked history and English best. She wrote stories and read books about faraway places. In sports, she was strong and fast. She played field hockey with energy, running up and down the pitch. She also enjoyed tennis, hitting the ball with focus. Her coaches noticed her determination. When things went wrong, she did not give up. She practiced until she improved. At home, the party pieces business kept growing. Catherine helped sometimes. She would sit at the kitchen table folding flyers or putting stickers on envelopes. She learned how to talk to customers politely on the phone. These small jobs taught her responsibility and the joy of working hard. She saw how her parents turned ideas into success through effort and care. When she was 13, Catherine moved to Down House, a boarding school for girls. At first, she felt homesick. The big building and new rules were strange. Some older girls were not kind. Catherine faced teasing and felt lonely. But she did not complain. She kept her head high and focused on her work. Slowly, she made good friends. She joined clubs and sports teams. She found her place. After 2 years, she changed schools again. This time she went to Marlborough College, a mixed boarding school known for its strong academics and sports. Here, she felt more at home. She studied hard and earned good grades. She played hockey for the school team and became captain in her last year. She was also good at netball and athletics. Teachers describe her as calm under pressure and fair to everyone. At Marlborough, Catherine discovered new interests. She loved art. She spent hours in the art room painting and drawing. She took beautiful photographs with a simple camera. She captured moments like sunlight on leaves or friends laughing together. These hobbies showed her quiet, thoughtful side. She also enjoyed drama and took part in school plays. On stage, she was confident and natural. Outside of school, she spent time with her family. Summers were spent at their home in Berkshire. They went sailing on the Solent, a stretch of water near the south coast. Catherine learned to handle boats and read the wind. She enjoyed the freedom of being on the water. Winters brought cozy evenings by the fire, reading books or playing board games. As she finished school at 18, Catherine took a gap year before university. She wanted to see more of the world and help others. First, she went to Italy to learn Italian and improve her language skills. She lived with a family and explored historic cities like Florence and Rome. She visited art galleries and felt inspired by paintings from long ago. Then came her biggest adventure. She joined a program called Raleigh International in Chile. For several months, she lived in remote areas. She helped build a school in a poor village. She carried heavy materials up hills and worked long hours under the hot sun. She slept in tents and cooked meals over campfires. She learned to work as part of a team and to solve problems quickly. The experience made her stronger and more grateful for what she had. After Chile, she spent time in Florence again, taking an art course. She studied famous paintings and learned techniques from skilled teachers. She walked through narrow streets, ate simple pasta, and felt the beauty of history around her. When she returned to England, Catherine felt ready for the next step. She had seen different parts of the world. She had worked hard in tough conditions. She had grown from a village girl into a young woman with confidence and kindness. Her childhood in Bucklebury gave her roots. Her travels gave her wings. Together, these early years built the foundation for everything that came later. People who knew her then remember a girl who was always polite, always smiling, and always ready to listen. She did not seek attention. She simply did her best every day. Little did anyone know that this quiet, determined young woman from a small English village would one day walk beside a prince and become a symbol of hope and grace for millions around the world. Her story was only beginning, but already the seeds of greatness were there, planted in simple soil, watered by love and hard work, and ready to grow into something truly remarkable. Catherine stepped into her young adult years with the same quiet strength she had carried from childhood. After finishing school at Marlborough College, she took a gap year to explore the world and learn more about herself. She first went to Florence, Italy, where she studied art history. She walked through old streets lined with beautiful buildings and visited famous galleries. She looked at paintings by great artists and learned new ways to see colors and shapes. This time helped her love for art grow deeper. Then came her biggest adventure yet. At 19, Catherine joined a program called Raleigh International in Chile. She spent 10 weeks in the wild south of the country, in a place called Patagonia. The land was rough and beautiful with tall mountains, thick forests, and cold rivers. She lived in tents with a group of young people from different places. They worked hard every day. For the first part of the trip, they went on long treks through the wilderness. Catherine carried a heavy backpack with her food, clothes, and sleeping bag. She walked for hours over hills and through mud. Sometimes the rain poured down, but she kept going. She learned to set up camp quickly and cook simple meals over a fire. The group built paths in the forest to help local people move around more easily. They cut logs and placed them carefully to make strong walkways. Catherine's hands got sore from work, but she enjoyed helping others. Next, they did a marine survey. They rowed in small boats on the cold sea. Catherine helped scientists study sea life. She measured fish and looked for changes in the water. She wore thick clothes to stay warm against the wind. One day, they saw whales swimming nearby. Their huge tails splashed the water, and everyone cheered. These moments made the hard work feel worth it. In the last weeks, they built a new fire station for a village. Catherine helped fit windows and put on roof sheets. She climbed ladders and used tools she had never held before. The local people thanked them with smiles and shared their food. Catherine felt proud to make a real difference. She learned to work as a team. She solved problems when things went wrong, like fixing broken equipment or finding dry wood in the rain. She made close friends who shared stories around the campfire at night. The experience made her stronger and more thankful for small things, like a warm bed or clean water. After Chile, she went back to Florence for a short art course. She painted and drew every day. She walked in the sunshine and ate fresh pasta. These quiet days helped her think about what she wanted next. When she returned to England, Catherine felt ready for university. She chose the University of St. Andrews in Scotland. The town was small and old, with stone buildings and narrow streets by the sea. In September 2001, She moved into St. Salvatore's Hall, a student residence. She studied art history, a subject she loved. On her first day, she felt a mix of excitement and nerves. She unpacked her bags and met her new flatmates. Soon, she noticed a tall young man with a shy smile. It was Prince William. He was also starting university, studying art history at first. They lived in the same hall and often saw each other at breakfast or in the common room. At first, they were just friends. They talked about classes and shared meals with others. Catherine was kind and easy to talk to. William liked how she listened and made him laugh. They found they had many things in common. They both enjoyed sports like swimming and tennis. They liked skiing and being outdoors. William sometimes felt homesick or worried about his studies. Catherine helped him feel better. She suggested he change to geography, a subject he liked more. He did, and it made him happier. Their friendship grew slowly. They went running in the mornings and played tennis on the university courts. They joined friends for walks along the beach or coffee in town. Catherine was bright red and shy when she first met him, but soon they were comfortable together. In their second year, things changed. They moved into a flat with two other friends. Now they lived together every day. They cooked meals, watched films, and studied late into the night. William felt something special about Catherine. He said later that he knew from the start she was different. A big moment came in March 2002. The university held a charity fashion show called Don't Walk. Catherine agreed to model some outfits. One dress was special. It was made of sheer material, like thin stockings, with a turquoise panel and blue ribbons. The designer meant it as a skirt, but Catherine wore it as a dress with simple underwear underneath. When she walked down the runway, the lights shone on her. She looked confident and beautiful. William sat in the front row. His eyes widened. He turned to his friend and said, "Wow, Kate's hot." After the show, their friendship turned into something more. They started dating quietly. They kept it private because William wanted a normal life at university. They went on walks, held hands away from crowds, and spent time with friends. Catherine handled the attention well. When photos appeared in newspapers, she stayed calm. Life at university was busy and fun. Catherine played hockey for the team. She ran up and down the field with energy. She also took part in charity events and helped organize parties. She studied hard and got good grades. William did the same in geography. They spent holidays together sometimes. They went skiing in the mountains or sailing on the sea. These trips brought them closer. They talked about dreams and fears. Catherine's kindness and strength impressed William. She supported him through the pressure of being a prince. After 4 years, in 2005, they both graduated. Catherine earned a good degree in art history. William got his in geography. On graduation day, their families came to watch. They sat together and celebrated. Photos showed them smiling and happy. After university, Catherine moved to London. She wanted to work and gain experience. She took a job at Jigsaw, a fashion shop. She worked as an accessories buyer. This meant she chose bags, scarves, and jewelry for the stores. She went to meetings, looked at new designs, and helped with photo shoots. Sometimes she fetched tea or ran errands. She worked part-time so she could spend time with William. Her boss said she was great at the job. She worked hard and was not afraid to do small tasks. Even when cameras followed her, she stayed polite and focused. She learned about style and business. She enjoyed the creative side. During this time, her relationship with William grew stronger. They faced challenges. Newspapers watched them closely. Some said mean things, like calling her Weighty Katie. It hurt, but Catherine stayed strong. She focused on her work and friends. In 2007, things became difficult. William was in the army and busy with training. They felt they needed space. They broke up for a few months. It was hard for both. Catherine felt sad, but used the time to grow. She went out with friends and did things she enjoyed. William missed her a lot. By summer, they both knew they wanted to be together again. They met and talked. William asked her to come back. Catherine agreed, but she wanted them to take things slowly. They reunited and became even closer. The time apart made them value each other more. Catherine kept working and living her life. She volunteered for charities that helped children and the arts. She rode horses and walked in the countryside on weekends. She stayed grounded, even as her life changed. These years turned Catherine into a confident young woman. She learned to balance love, work, and public life. She showed grace under pressure. Her university days and early career built the person she would become. She was ready for the next big step in her story, where love and duty would come together in a way no one expected. Through it all, she remained the same kind, determined girl from Bucklebury, now grown into someone who could face the world with a smile. Catherine's life changed forever in the golden light of an African sunset. In October 2010, she and Prince William traveled to Kenya for a private holiday. They stayed in a simple log cabin at Rutundu, high on the slopes of Mount Kenya. The air was fresh and cool, with views of vast plains below. William had planned something special. He carried his mother's sapphire and diamond ring in his rucksack for weeks, waiting for the right moment. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in orange and pink, William got down on one knee. He asked Catherine to marry him. She felt complete shock at first. She had hoped for this day, but it still surprised her. The ring, once worn by Princess Diana, sparkled on her finger. It was a symbol of love passed down and a promise for their future. Catherine said yes with tears in her eyes and a big smile. They spent the rest of the night by a warm fire, talking about their dreams and holding each other close. The engagement stayed secret for a short time. On November 16th, 2010, they announced it to the world at St. James's Palace in London. Catherine wore a simple blue dress that matched her eyes. She showed the ring to cameras, and the world fell in love with her natural grace. In their first interview together, they spoke honestly. William said he wanted to give her time to think about the life ahead, full of public eyes and duty. Catherine said she felt lucky and excited. Their love story, built over years, now became a fairy tale for millions. The wedding came quickly. The date was set for April 29th, 2011, at Westminster Abbey. The ancient church, with its high stone walls and colorful windows, had seen many royal weddings before. Preparations filled the months with joy and hard work. Catherine chose her dress with care. Sarah Burton from Alexander McQueen designed it. It was made of ivory silk satin with lace sleeves and a long train. The lace came from flowers that matched the ones on her mother's wedding dress. She wore a tiara lent by the Queen, a Cartier halo with diamonds that sparkled like stars. On the wedding day, London woke to blue skies and cheering crowds. People lined the streets from early morning, waving flags and hoping to catch a glimpse. Catherine left the Goring Hotel with her father. She rode in a Rolls-Royce to the Abbey. Inside, 2,000 guests waited, including world leaders, family, and friends. William stood at the altar in his red Irish Guards uniform, looking nervous but happy. His brother Harry stood beside him as best man, smiling wide. When Catherine walked down the long aisle on her father's arm, the Abbey fell quiet. She looked calm and beautiful. Her eyes met William's, and they both smiled. The Dean of Westminster led the service. The Archbishop of Canterbury performed the marriage vows. The Bishop of London gave a warm sermon about love and service. Catherine's brother James read a poem. The choir sang hymns that filled the space with sweet sound. William placed the ring on Catherine's finger, and they became husband and wife. After the ceremony, they stepped out into sunlight. Bells rang loud and clear. They rode in an open carriage through cheering streets to Buckingham Palace. Crowds waved and shouted their names. At the palace, they appeared on the balcony. The people below asked for a kiss. William and Catherine shared a gentle one, then another when the crowd cheered more. It was a moment the world watched and remembered. The honeymoon followed in the quiet islands of the Seychelles. They stayed in a private villa by the sea, swimming in clear water and walking on white sand. It was a time to rest after the big day and dream about what came next. Back in England, they took the titles Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. Their new home was apartment 1A at Kensington Palace, a comfortable place with gardens and space for family. Catherine began her royal duties slowly. She chose causes close to her heart. She supported groups that helped children, families, and the arts. She visited hospitals and schools, talking to people with warmth and real interest. Their first big trip as a couple was to Canada in the summer of 2011. They traveled across the country, meeting people in cities and small towns. Catherine wore bright colors and smiled at crowds. She played street hockey in one place, laughing as she hit the puck. In the United States, they went to Los Angeles and met actors and helped with charity events. Everywhere they went, people loved her easy way and kind words. In 2012, they toured Southeast Asia and the South Pacific for the Queen's Diamond Jubilee. Catherine wore elegant dresses and hats. She danced with locals and planted trees. She showed respect for different cultures and listened carefully to stories. That December, happy news came. Catherine was expecting their first child. The announcement came early because she had severe morning sickness. She spent time in hospital to feel better. The world sent good wishes. Catherine stayed strong and brave through the hard days. On July 22, 2013, their son was born at St. Mary's Hospital in London. He weighed 8 pounds 6 ounces. They named him George Alexander Lewis. Hours after the birth, Catherine stepped out with William. She wore a light blue dress and held the baby wrapped in white. George slept peacefully in her arms. The crowd cheered loud. Cameras flashed as they waved and smiled. It was a proud moment for the new parents. Catherine wanted to be a hands-on mother. She spent time at home with George, feeding him, playing, and singing songs. She balanced this with royal work. She visited children's centers and talked about the importance of early years. She met parents and shared her own experiences. In May 2015, their daughter arrived. Princess Charlotte Elizabeth Diana was born on May 2nd at the same hospital. Catherine again appeared soon after in a pretty floral dress, holding the tiny baby. Prince George came too, holding his father's hand. He looked curious at his new sister. The family looked happy and complete. With 2 children, life became busier. Catherine kept up her duties. She launched projects on mental health and addiction. She worked with charities like Place 2B, helping kids with emotional needs. She visited drug recovery centers and listened to people's stories without judgment. In 2016, she joined William and Harry for the Heads Together campaign. They talked openly about mental health to remove shame. Catherine shared how important it was to ask for help. Her words touched many hearts. Family holidays brought joy. They spent time at Amer Hall in Norfolk, a cozy house with big gardens. The children played outside, ran with dogs, and explored nature. Catherine baked cakes and read bedtime stories. She wanted her kids to have as normal a life as possible. Through these early royal years, Catherine grew into her role. She learned palace ways from the Queen, who gave wise advice. She chose British designers for her clothes, supporting local talent. Her style was simple yet elegant, often in bright colors that made people smile. Challenges came too. The media watched every move. Sometimes stories hurt, but Catherine stayed calm. She focused on her family and work. She showed that being royal meant service, kindness, and strength. By 2018, their third child came. Prince Louis Arthur Charles was born on April 23rd. Catherine left hospital in a red dress, looking radiant. William carried the baby this time, while George and Charlotte waved from the steps. With 3 young children, Catherine's days filled with love and laughter. She changed nappies, went to playgroups, and cheered at school events. At the same time, she continued her public role. She spoke at events about parenting and child development. She visited nurseries and hospitals, always with a warm hug or kind word. These years from engagement to family life shaped Catherine deeply. She went from a young woman in love to a duchess and mother. She handled fame with grace, raised her children with care, and served her country with heart. Her story inspired people everywhere to believe in love, hard work, and quiet strength. The future held more, but these moments built the foundation of a remarkable life.